Welcome back to another very extremely exciting episode of Chasing Tone Podcast with my friend Blake from the Tone Mob Podcast.
Hello, everyone. We're back.
Blake, how's you and your fake laughter?
My fake laughter is doing pretty good. I think I've really...
I'm sorry, forced laughter.
Oh, yeah, forced laughter, yeah. I try to force laughs as much as possible. What I really like to do is I go to Walmart and I pick up if you go to the canned food aisle, they have canned laughter that you can use.
I've never tried that.
Yeah, they got canned laughter. Yeah, it's great. In fact, Bob could probably put some in right here.
Well, I that's what I was going to say. I think we can probably use a sound clip somewhere of some laughter. So in case I feel that it's really not, like you're just not forcing your laughter enough, maybe we can insert some extra laughter on top of this.
Was that forced enough? Because that came out naturally. Brian. Anyway.
So I'm sure there's several people that have made that comment. They're like, what jerks? And then probably the rest of the people are like, what are they talking about?
Yeah, no one has a clue what we're talking about right now, but apparently we have forced laughter.
Yeah, there's been some reviews where people don't like the forced laughter, and for that, I don't know how to change my laugh. I practiced on it yesterday. One of them was, ha, 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 ha. But that seems way too fake. So I figure I'll just continue to be me, and then you can continue to be you. And
I think I'm going to become Barbara Streisand.
That's well, if we're allowed to change people, then I don't know. I want to be like George Clooney or someone.
Oh, yeah, that's true. He's a beautiful man.
Yeah. So I'm just saying. Or I started to say Sean Hannity, not Sean Hannity. Sean
Connery.
Connery, yes.
Yeah.
That wasn't first either.
Okay. Anyway.
Right, so anyways, that's not what we want to talk about today.
We could, but we won't.
Right. So what I want to talk to you about is, and it's kind of a hot issue that's been happening in the podcast world lately. I see some forums are also talking about it a bit. It all comes down to ethics in the pedal business. Yeah,
it's something that we've kind of touched on here and there before, and it's been all over the internet at one time or another. But yeah, the wound has kind of recently been reopened or revisited or something. I don't know how to put that, but yeah. Yeah, it has. Obviously, I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, probably check out some podcasts and you'll figure it out real quick. Yep.
I'm sitting here thinking like, how do I get in this without mentioning names? So let's say that you've wronged some people, and you're trying to make good on it,
right?
And you think you've made good on it, but maybe some people feel that you haven't totally made good on it, and possibly that you continue to keep doing stuff. If that's you, what do you do? Where do you go from there?
Well, I think you have to make sure that you haven't just convinced yourself that you've made good. When things get really bad, really bad, like say you've, I don't know, sold things as something that they're not. That's pretty horrible. I mean, from a business ethics standpoint, and you can go a long ways into making people whole and refunding money or whatever you want, and it can feel like a Herculean effort, and it is, to try to rebuild your reputation from that. But at the same time, at some point, you might go, "Well, I've done it. Everything's fine. I've done what I'm supposed to do," when really, you may not have. There's a lot of people that have been affected by these things, and you may not be done. So you have to make sure you haven't just convinced yourself that you've made good, and that everyone thinks you've made good. I think that's the only real way to come back from that.
Yeah. I think so. Your efforts have to be 10 times more than they ever were, because you have, now you're trying to push a train up a very steep hill. You know what I mean?
With a rope.
Well, yeah. Well, that would be pulling technically, but yeah.
Well, that was the joke anyway. Because you can't push things with a rope.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
you're
I know.
forcing it again, Brian.
I understand where you're going. I'm just okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
And now you made me lose my train of thought.
I'm sorry. Your
Shiny
train.
objects. Okay, so yeah, so I mean, you have to like your customer service has to be completely amazing in every way. Um, you kind of have to prove yourself that these products are legit, and I think that probably even goes to sending them to reviewers, and have them open them up inside, look at the circuit boards, show all the stuff, and probably
Preferably an ungooped circuit board.
yeah, goop is done, no more
Yeah.
goop. And then you probably have to, if you do, if you're running an effects company, you better know something about electronics. Number one. Number two, if you like, you're going to have to prove that you know something about electronics. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you're going to have to start explaining how things work and how you arrived. You're going to say, okay, well, basically, I'm taking a non-inverting op amp type circuit, and I'm soft clipping there asymmetrically with 4148 diodes, of course. I mean, you have to. You're going to have to prove that you know something. You know what I mean?
Right. You can't be me. You know what I mean?
To be fair, no one can be you, and I don't know if really anyone would want to be you.
Oh well, that's true. I mean, it's a tough road to hoe.
I mean, it's hard to learn how to force your laughter. That's all I'm saying. You know.
How many times are we going to revisit this throughout the episode? Probably too many. Anyway.
Okay, I will cease and desist from.
I see what you did there. You also shouldn't send cease and desists out, most likely, willy-nilly to everyone that badmouths you.
That is a bad idea. Yeah, you can't stop information from flowing because that makes you look bad.
Yeah.
And I come from a caring perspective when I talk about this stuff because I, believe it or not, I actually do care about other people in this industry. And I do want to see others succeed because I think if we hold each other up, everything gets better. Like it's going to be it would be bad if I who's your favorite pedal builder right now? Pelican. That's the guy I like. I like
okay.
him. Nice guy.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm like that Pelican guy. He's kind of a jerk. You probably don't want to buy his stuff because he uses components made from,
baby seals.
Yeah, baby seals. You know what I mean? If I try to gain ground that way, that really it makes me look bad. Number one. Number two, it makes other people think, well, if he's doing that, I wonder who else is doing that.
Right.
So there's nothing to be...
It brings the industry into question.
It does. It brings the whole industry. Like, well, why am I paying $200 for these pedals if there's these resistors is the same thing in a $30 what's a $30 pedal? A Joyo maybe or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go.
If it's the same thing, why am I paying that much? That's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, what am I trying to say here? You can't continue doing things the way you've always done them.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, I mean that's the too long didn't read version. Yeah. You can't. You got to be a totally different person. And if you don't know electronics, you need to come clean and say, you know what, man, I don't know my ass from a hole in the ground with electronics. I really don't. I couldn't tell you an op amp from a peanut butter cup. So because the truth is, even though you might think that is a bad thing to say, but there's integrity there. If you're honest, you're like, look, I really don't know. You know what I mean? I'll be the first person to say, I really don't know that much about DSP. I have a guy that works for me, a couple of them, that knows about DSP. And there's people I can call Robert Keeley and say, hey, I'm having this problem. What would you do here? And there's several others like that, and they'll, we help each other.
Right. Well, I mean,
they'll, try this or that or this and see what happens. And you're like, all right, thanks, man, I'll do that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, knowing that that's a fault of mine, I have to learn that. So I am in the middle of learning that, But learning something like DSP isn't something you don't pick up a book and like, all right, I got it. I can start creating whatever I want now.
Right.
I mean,
No worry. I got this. I got it.
It's the 10,000 hours of practice rule.
Yeah. I was just kind of thinking while you were talking about, like, enlisting other people to help you. As I kind of plugged on the last episode I was on, I had a pedal come out recently that was under Tone Mob, and it was a great fuzz and everything. But as you guys all know, I don't know how to do these things. I had to have somebody do it for me. I had Solid Gold Effects build it for me to what my ears wanted to hear. And I told everybody that's what happened because why would I say that I did it?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's if you had lied and said, "Yeah, man, I created this circuit from scratch myself. I totally made this up all on my own." That's not genuine.
No, and it's cool. I mean, to me, it's cooler to work with people and have everybody know, because it's like, look at these awesome things that they're doing over here, and they helped me do this cool thing. I don't know.
Right.
Being clear seems more fun, even, and a lot less work than going in and covering up a lie or a shady thing.
Well, that's something that my mom taught me from a young age. Is it's much easier to tell the truth than try to remember all the lies that you said. You know what I mean?
Right. It's just too much work.
It is, and that's there's a lot of times where someone will assume I'm an engineer of a sort. I'm like, look, I'm not an engineer. I don't know why that's doing that mathematically or whatever. But I can tell you, whenever you place this with this, here's what it sounds like, and here's what it gets you.
Right.
But that's. It probably wouldn't hurt me to know, more math behind it.
No, it's not going to hurt anybody. But but the fact that that everyone, it's been put out there on multiple channels that you don't, and no one, there's no one going, "Why? I bet he's a secret genius." He's probably lying. He does know the math. He's totally making that up. He knows the math. No, I mean, just being up front is just better.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, I mean, getting a little bit off topic here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand the formulas, but it's much easier for me to, like, let's say I'm looking for a low pass filter. It's much easier for me to just use a piece of software, and it's called Spice, in case you're wondering. Use a piece of software, put the values in there, let it do the math, and show me the curves.
Yeah, that's why it exists.
Yeah, that's much easier and much quicker, and it allows for me to not have to remember a bunch of maths. And like I said, I barely graduated school, so that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just using the tools at your disposal, but it's fine. I mean, that is a little bit off the track of what we were actually trying to talk about, but
right. So
par for the course with us.
Yeah, very true.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, so you have that situation where, the podcast had interviewed a person, and I guess apparently, from what I can tell on some forums, some of the listeners to these podcasts didn't really appreciate the questions. I guess they felt that the interviewers should have been more cutthroat,
like hard hitting type of thing.
Yeah, like, hey man, we know what you've been up to, so we're going to totally tear you apart. And I don't think you can't do that. I mean, if you interview someone and you tear them apart, then one, it kind of makes you look like a jerk, and two, you're probably not going to get as many interviews anymore. I mean, just being honest, that's why you don't. And just in case anyone's wondering, that's also why you don't see any negative reviews in guitar magazines. Right. Because if you do that, you're not going to advertise with them anymore.
Right.
And other companies.
Well, just from my personal thing as being a sort of a gear media person guy, if I get something and I think it's no good, I don't go out and bash it publicly. I just say, hey, this didn't do it for me, man. Here, you can have it back. Right. And I know that may seem like a jerk thing to do, but it's like, I'm not going to go out and say something's awesome when I don't think that it is.
Well,
but I'm also not going to bash somebody publicly just for the sake of bash. There's other people that will do that, so I don't need to.
Right. And I mean, even this is not just magazine stuff. Like, I mentioned ads. if you're a guitar tube, there needs to be a guitar tube. That's my new website, Guitar Tube. Um, I'm actually gonna register that right now. Anyways, if you're a YouTube guitar pedal reviewer, or musical instrument reviewer,
Mm-hmm.
if that's your job, and I'm sure most people have noticed this, most guitar pedal reviews are pretty favorable. Now they'll try to mix it up, like, well, I didn't like this about it, but these other 90 things are great.
Right.
You know, but what I do with people, I just tell them, if you don't like this pedal, I would rather you not do it, and I'll pay you for your time and send it back, because I don't want you to be dishonest.
Mm-hmm.
If you think it sucks, I would rather you tell me, yeah, this is like, I don't like it at all.
Right. I mean, it's way better.
I mean, that's the world we live in.
It's kind of an integrity thing. I mean, you know what I mean? It may seem a little fishy that like every review is, pretty much positive for the most part. There are exceptions.
Right.
But it may seem a little bit disingenuous, but it's kind of the fact of it is like, if you start just bashing everything that comes to you, you're not going to get anything coming to you anymore. So.
Right. and to be honest, like, I really don't mind some reviews where somebody doesn't like the pedal. Like, that's genuine to me. Now, when that does happen, I like to be present in the comments so I can answer questions and explain, well, here's the reason you had, like, I just did a video about the Euphoria. Here's the reason. Don't turn that bass all the way up. It's not going to be crunchy if you turn the bass all the way up. It's not a traditional bass control,
Mm-hmm.
It's not, or it's not mid-heavy enough. It's not that way by design, or it's not fuzzy enough. Well, it's not a fuzz pedal. So,
Yeah, I mean, some of it seems silly, but like when people get used to things working a certain way and then they don't, well, it may be difficult for some people to get good sounds out of them.
Right.
When the controls are maybe active or something, like they're just not used to that.
Right.
I've had people be able to get better sounds out of things that I didn't like than I could. So it is a preference thing.
Yeah, and same way here. I've heard, and really even like in the same setup, I've heard people play stuff and I'm like, that sounds great, and then they hand me the guitar and I'm like, yeah, it's just not. It's not doing it for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds great when you play it.
Yeah.
And we might have done a video a long time ago about that. Maybe it might have been on one of these podcasts. I forget, with Travis and Max, and had all their gear out, I think.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yes.
And and I think Travis was playing something. I'm like, I like it when you play it, but I'm not a fan of it myself for the way I play and my gear. It just doesn't work for me. But it sounds great whenever you're playing it.
Right.
So I mean, there's a
lot of angles. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say there's also a bit of an issue about companies doing clones and that sort of thing. I mean,
you read my mind. That's where I was going.
Some people have a gigantic problem with a company doing clones.
Mm-hmm.
But they're selective. Like, it's okay if these other companies do a Big Muff clone, but it's not okay if they do a brand XYZ clone.
Right. It's some circuits get a pass, and it is kind of weird how we do that, and I don't know exactly why, but
people call they throw the ethics term around, but ethics are very gray. There's no definition of ethics. Ethics are different for everybody, So, while it may be okay for Blake to come out with a Timmy clone, Wampler's probably not going to come out with a Timmy clone anytime soon.
Right.
But that's just because more the way I feel. Now with that said, that doesn't mean that we haven't done clones before. I was reading, what form was it on? It was on the realworldworship.org.
Okay.
Which is, it's probably more Christian-ish, I guess, but
you would think maybe.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, the URL is a little bit misleading because the guy that writes it, Adam, he actually is a huge guitar pedal fan. So he's got a lot of posts about guitar pedals.
Yes, he is.
And
yes.
one of the big ones is discussing this topic as well, about clones and companies that do it, and how it's, how the ethics are so gray to define. I mean, if in fact somebody went as far to say that I've said that my ego compressor is completely unique, totally unique. And I replied in the comments, I'm like, I never said that. In fact, if you look through archive.org, I say completely based off of a Ross and Dynacomp style compressor. Got a blend control and a tone control.
I don't ever remember anywhere saying that you said that the ego was unique. I mean, it is unique, but not a clone. I don't ever remember that.
Well, I mean, it's based off the topology of a Ross or Dynacomp type of compressor.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, so apparently, like that's okay, I guess, to some people who know that, or any of the number of other people that do that type of compressor circuit. I mean, like Robert, of course, has like a Ross style compressor. That was okay, but then I see other people who don't like that JHS did an orange squeezer.
Right, it doesn't make any sense.
Why? How come? Like, why is that bad?
Yeah, why is it? Why? How come? Yeah, how come some people can do it and it's okay?
Right.
And it is. I mean, I think it's a little bit circuit based too. Like everyone's okay with a Big Muff or a Tube Screamer. Like anyone can clone those at any time and no one gets mad about it.
Right.
Why? I don't know. It seems strange. And I do it myself in my brain. I'm like, oh yeah, what's this new Big Muff clone? I love Big Muffs. But if I found out someone was cloning part for part the, I don't know, Velvet Fuzz, I'd have a problem with that.
Yeah. And you know what I'm thinking here? I'm actually a little bit guilty of it as well. Because like you said, there are times where I'm like, well, like we just did the clone thing. Now, I refuse to do one in a bigger box. I refuse to do one in the same style. I wanted to change something about it.
Yeah.
And the best thing I could think to change is make it as small as possible. And affordable.
That's a key point right there, the affordable part.
And and supply the demand. Because that's another thing. If you can't build enough of them and customers are demanding it, well, my job is to make happy guitar players. On the flip side, though, there was a pedal that, well, you're familiar with the Zen Drive.
Oh yeah.
So whenever I see copies of the Zen Drive, for some reason in my gut that feels weird. And I don't know, like logically it shouldn't, but something emotionally it does. On an emotional level somewhere, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, and I don't know why that is either. I know I have a similar reaction. I don't like that.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what I honestly wish I had a better answer for why certain things and companies get a pass and others don't. But I really have that. I don't think there's a lot of logic in it at times. If that makes any sense.
Well, maybe we should write out a manifesto of what everyone's ethics should be. And you should put it on to tonemob.com.
That sounds like a bad idea.
It just started out, everyone, from now on, this is how we're going to believe.
That's right. You have to follow this because it says so on tonemob.com.
Exactly.
The leading authority on all things ethics and no, not going to happen.
You just don't want to get blasted on the gear page, is what it is.
I'm sure I've already gotten blasted on the gear page for being dumb or something. I don't know.
Well,
it's fine.
I won't bring up the most obvious thing that you've been blasted for lately, involving laughter.
Okay.
But, but I saw that some guys are picking apart the 60 cycle hum crew.
Right.
Steve and
Ryan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and really, like, I saw the comments were pretty scathing. Like, I was like, oh my, like they're attacking him like his personal character. And this is just a guy having fun, like making some podcasts for fun. Like I don't take any money for these. This is just because we like talking about stuff and we figure maybe some people would like to listen to it on the way to work or whatever, instead of the new Taylor Swift song.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess to those people, I would say start your own podcast,
I don't know. Yeah.
or ask for a refund. One or the other.
Yeah. You can get all your money back. I will give you your money back. That's what Ryan and Steve should do. They should say, we will give you your money back. Since you didn't enjoy this particular episode.
Right.
I don't know. Like I was going through that, and it was just because I do know those guys and they're good dudes. And yeah, the comments were kind of, I honestly think you and I and some of their listeners were probably more offended by it than they actually are, because they don't take things too personally.
Right.
But it was just like, you guys are jerks. You don't even know these people. They're good dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're good dudes having a good time and providing a source of entertainment for the gear world. And yeah, I don't anyway.
It's really unfortunate. I mean, this is the old grandpa in me coming out. It's unfortunate how things on the internet they continually they get worse. Like the haters come out and they're like, I can hide behind this keyboard and type whatever I want, and I can let all my inner anguish out on this podcaster because I'm mad at the world and mom didn't make me a peanut butter jelly sandwich and I'm mad,
And that's, I guess we should probably put a disclaimer on all this. Like, people had a reason to be legitimately mad, though I don't think they should have been legitimately mad at them.
Right.
Especially if you know the circumstances surrounding it. It was just like a big, it was just like at a big gear gathering, and he happened to be there, and it just happened. So, and
I'll also bring up the obvious fact. I mean, okay, on the internet, you can say whatever you want behind your keyboard, but if you're in front of a guy with a microphone and you make him mad, he's probably going to punch you in the mouth. You know what I mean?
That's true. You can't. Hey, Brian, I'm from the Tone Mob podcast, and I'd like to know why you rip everything off of everyone. Could you please tell me why you do that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so that's what I've got to say about that.
Yeah. I don't know if I made any sense with that or not. Basically, I'm going to try to sum up my thoughts. This might be a little bit difficult.
You want me to give you a minute here? It might take you some time.
Yeah, go ahead. Give me some time to collect my brain.
We need some background music here.
Okay.
That would be my wife in the background
singing
the Jeopardy song.
Yes, that'll work. Now I'm completely lost. I think
you don't podcast with your wife in the room? What?
No. She doesn't like to hear me talk that much. She has to hear it all the time anyway. I'm thinking, I don't know. I didn't hear what she said.
She said some wives have no choice. See, we work together, so
right.
It's part of the gig.
I hear you.
So anyways, continue on.
Anyways, I don't know. I'm completely lost now.
You were going to summarize your thoughts.
I know, and I don't know what they are because we started singing the Jeopardy song and wondering if we should podcast with our wives.
Okay, so your thought, I can sum up your thoughts.
You can, yeah, Brian, please sum up my thoughts for me.
Your thoughts are that if you have sold a product that was not yours, but you called it yours, and you made up other things along the way to try to prove that it was yours, and then you're like, all right, I actually lied. I'm sorry. You have a long uphill battle. We wish you the best, but we hope for the best.
Mm-hmm.
But just know that it's not going to come easy, and it's going to be a huge struggle. But with perseverance and maybe a dedication to change, maybe that dedication's already there. I don't know, but if one would completely dedicate their lives to change that part about them, then there could be more success in the future. Likewise, if you like one company that builds clones and another company that builds clones, and dislike another company that builds clones, rather, you might want to ask yourself why.
Now, you summarized my thoughts. There's only one thing I would add to that. Is leave the podcasters alone. We're a sensitive bunch.
Exactly. And contrary to what some of the opinion thought there really ain't a whole lot of money flying around for podcasters. not in the guitar pedal arena.
I know people really think there's Well, I do have to go here in a little bit because I'm going to have to count all my money. I have so much of it sitting here directly from the podcast that I need to count it all.
I know the feeling. I've been thinking about quitting pedals just to focus on podcasting for that reason.
Oh yes, it's just stacks of cash. Stacks.
Yeah. I think I made. This is not podcasting, but on YouTube, I think I made $3 off of advertising revenue last month.
Look at you go!
Yeah, I know, man. That's what 20-some thousand subscribers get you.
Brian, I don't mean to make you jealous, but once in a while, month to month, I actually break into the 100 air category.
Man.
I become 100 air once in a while.
Wow. How do I break? How do I? We need to listen to some marketing podcasts. We can figure out how to do that.
Yeah. How do I become 100 air? That's my next podcast.
That should be the next title of your podcast. Yep. Yeah. So all right. So with that said, that's what that's our thoughts and feelings on the ethics debate that's flying around right now. If you have any comments or questions, you can always email podcast@wamplerpedals.com. Or where the crap your email address is. I can't be bothered to remember it.
Wait, every week it's this. Every week. I'm starting to feel belittled by you.
I find a little bit of amusement out of it, actually, if I'm honest.
It's info@tonemob.com, and you can check out all the podcasts that I have with guys such as Brian and others over at tonemob.com. And you know what? This Chasing Tone podcast has really gotten a lot more reviews than I have, and I don't understand. So you guys need to go listen and review.
Well, last time I asked for a bunch of reviews, it was a bunch of negative reviews, so I'm not doing that anymore.
Okay, well maybe never mind. Don't give me any negative reviews.
I even clarified that. I said, you're going to review if it's a negative review, don't bother. But apparently no one listened to that part of it.
Oh boy. Well, can't please everybody.
Yeah, anyways, ethics, huh? So, with that said, we'll catch you up next week. Thanks for listening.
All right. Later.